Hi friends, this is a continuation of my Noel Sickles Scorchy Smith video. You're looking at Bert Christman, who picked up Scorchy Smith after Sickles bailed in 1936. Bert Christman lived from 1915 to 1942, died a World War II hero at age 26, shot down over Burma. He was a fighter pilot. Look at his rendering of clouds here in Scorchy Smith. This guy was so talented. He really picked up where Sickles left off. And I'm going to be going through some clips here that I've picked up through archived newspapers, as this stuff is really hard to find about Bert Christman with his Scorchy Smith work. Notice that the strips were signed Noel Sickles early on. Actually, this is a Noel Sickles frame right here. I want to compare directly Noel Sickles' work. Look at his chiaroscuro contrast here, compared right here to, actually, this is John Terry, the originator of Scorchy Smith, before Sickles, before Christman. I want to show his really simplistic style here, John Terry, in comparison, here we go, to Bert Christman and Noel Sickles, who in my opinion were much more accomplished, but major props to John Terry for having the genius of starting Scorchy Smith, coming up with the idea. He died of tuberculosis. That's why Sickles picked it up. This is Bert Christman's original work for Scorchy. Wow. Pen and ink, guys. Look at the reflections in the water, the boats. And now here's a frame of the cartoon, the comic, with that original rendering to the right. See the comparison there? So much better to see the original work, man. I wish there was more of that in existence. He could do Native Americans, Eskimos, different cultures, horses. Look at the horses here. Snow scenes, of course, being from Fort Collins, Colorado. The guy knew about snow and winter scenes. And Sickles from Ohio was also really good at snow scenes. More Bert Christman here. I believe this is still Bert Christman. He did end up signing his work later on in the strip, not attributable to Noel Sickles, but like in this frame here, you can see in the second to right, it's signed Bert Christman, and just great characters. He also painted the noses of the fighter pilots with the graphics. Here's a couple of those from World War II in the Japanese theater. Here's again another frame signed by Bert Christman, the last frame on the right in the lower left. You can see the signature there. Man, I love this frame right here. Look at the yak in the background with the snowstorm, with the white streaking, and then the black against the snow. Just understanding white and black. That's what it takes. And there's the man right there. So young, guys, 26 years old. What a future Christman would have had, yet what a legacy he left us. And, you know, that's what we have to be appreciative for. That was his dream, to be a fighter pilot, and we'll see that momentarily here. But he did leave such a legacy, and being a war hero. This is the work of a memorial done by Frank Robbins, the successor to Bert Christman on the strip. And Frank Robbins, you can see his artwork there, the plane and the parachute, indicating how Christman died. This is Robbins' work. Look at, he's much more angular and kind of edgy, Frank Robbins. He's the successor to Christman. And he's a great artist as well. He retired to Mexico and did oil painting. Do a Google search on Frank Robbins oil painting with the tango dances and stuff in Mexico. Really great. A much more comic booky, or I don't know, almost impressionistic style Frank Robbins. Really different and really cool. This is another image from Bert Christman. Christman, this is 1939. He also did for DC Comics The Sandman. Check this out. The last frame here says, "Imagine me, a real pilot," in that last right frame. I chose this because indeed Bert Christman did become a real pilot. How telling. A World War II hero giving the greatest sacrifice for our country. Check out the painterly effect in this last frame, much different than all his other work that I've seen in Scorchy Smith. Look at that, the sunset with the clouds streaking across the sky, the chiaroscuro effect of high contrast with the figure in the foreground and the plane just waiting in the background. You know, Christman was shot down twice and survived, parachuted out of his plane, and he was killed within days before coming back home to the States. Anyhow, that was his destiny, and that last frame really tells the story.